Ernestine Library, and the rehearsal hall on the ground floor for the instrumentalists. Spencer. That's good. What about room 214, where you have most of your rehearsals? You don't know that because until tonight, it didn't have a name. So on behalf of the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees, I'm delighted to call 214 the Stephen M. Hopkins Choral Rehearsal Hall. Dr. Tyler Young, one of our graduates and current faculty members, would like to make a little announcement before we close. Thank you again.
Good evening. I hope everyone back there can hear me since I'm speaking on your behalf, so I'll speak loudly and clearly. I'm Dr. Tyler Young. I'm visiting assistant professor of voice here in the Hayes School of Music, and I had the privilege of also being a singer under the direction of Dr. Hopkins. And I was asked to speak on behalf of these fine singers you see behind me this evening, and for those here and watching at home. And I thought that's an awfully daunting task for me to form words to capture all of these thoughts. And then I realized there's something that binds us together, and that is that we really love this man. We love Dr. Hopkins because he taught us how to be musicians, singers, conductors, and teachers. An alumna in the ensemble said, "He taught me how to teach." His passion for music making is contagious, and he has shown us the importance of perseverance, dedication to the details, and a love for creativity. We love Dr. Hopkins for his ability to build community. Walking into 214 each day is like coming home. We felt a sense of belonging and a sense of pride in the work we did together. I shouldn't fail to mention we also looked forward to his dry sense of humor and witty jokes that we got every class period. Well, at least one person enjoyed them. We love Dr. Hopkins because he loves us back. He isn't just our leader. He is a selfless, caring, and patient man who has spent all these years dedicating his life to our success. And for that, we are forever grateful. This evening, we would like to present a few gifts to Dr. Hopkins. Eva is bringing out some goodies here. We have a gift basket. We also have some monetary gifts that we'll be sending along the way. We also have some signed notes from everyone in the ensemble, and we also have video recordings, messages that will be sent for him to watch later this week. These gifts are merely a token of our gratitude and affection. No gift can really express the love and the praise that this man deserves. He has shown us how to be great musicians, great leaders, and great people. How? He leads by example. He has shown us how to persevere, how to give the very best we have, even on our bad days, and how to crack a little joke or two, even when things aren't going quite right. So, for all these amazing folks behind me, I say thank you. Thank you for caring, guiding, leading, and making us laugh. And I believe now there are a few students who have something to present and a few words.
Hi, my name is Sophie. This is Tristan and Jenna. We are just a fraction of the students that are taught by Dr. Hopkins today. We just have a few words to say. Dr. Hopkins has made a huge impact on the lives of everyone that surrounds him. I'm sure all the people on the stage can agree to that. We, as Dr. Hopkins' current students, are incredibly jealous of the people that got to spend more time with him. But with that being said, thank you. Dr. Hopkins has taken a bunch of musicians unsure of what to expect coming out of COVID and created a place that we can call home. We will miss you tremendously. Oh, sorry. And we wish you a happy retirement. These gifts are just a small token of appreciation from all of your loving students. We hope you like them.
And I believe we have one last speaker. Dr. Hopkins' son, Jonathan, has a few words to say.
Before we conclude, I want to talk about my dad. There's a quote early on in The Godfather. Don Corleone is a man who insists on hearing bad news immediately. Now, first of all, don't get me wrong. In almost every imaginable way, my dad is the exact opposite of a mafia boss. You know, he's compassionate and artistic, and at least as far as I know, has never killed anybody. Still, in The Godfather, that line is important because it defines what it means to be a successful and respected boss. Not that choir departments and organized crime have a lot in common. But still, it's kind of on point, right? It said you become a man once you're the person everyone else relies on, instead of someone who always relies on everyone else. It's also said that every son spends his entire life either trying to live up to his father's expectations or make up for his father's mistakes. Which is funny because the first time I heard that, I thought, what mistakes? Which I guess puts me squarely in the first camp. But a father, most of all, protects. That's what gives him meaning. There are a few characteristics that define my dad that I've noticed myself and heard from others. Responsibility, consistency, discipline, support, compassion, maturity, high expectations, and of course, creativity, musicianship, and art. He once told me about choir directing that the closer you are to perfect, the more you only see flaws, which I've realized applies to life. Of course, I never had him as a professor myself, but from what I've heard, this is not a guy you should goof off around. This is a teacher who expects your best every single second of every day from the minute you step into his classroom. And that's not easy, especially in college. But then, after college, when you've grown up, you realize what a rare quality that is. How valuable it's been to experience that type of leadership. To have a coach in your corner who sees right through you to the best version of yourself and who will never relent from challenging, supporting, and guiding you until you reach that full potential. Who never gives up on you and never, ever quits. But honestly, what he's best at is solving problems. For those of you who don't know, every summer growing up, my dad would run the Hayes School of Music camp for high schoolers. It was a tough job, at least the babysitting and politics aspect. There were more than a few panicked 3 a.m. phone calls. Sometimes that job was flat out stressful. But still, there's no question he was the best guy for it. He was the boss. He was the big dog. There are a couple t-shirts that say that somewhere. When it was the middle of the night and there's an emergency, some kid tried to microwave a styrofoam package of cookie dough and set the kitchen on fire, or a million other things. That actually happened, by the way.
There wasn't anybody up there. I'm looking at former counselors that had to deal with it.
What do? You call my dad immediately, and he fixes it. See, if there's one thing about my dad, that's it. He always fixes it. Whatever it is, no matter how big, he sees the heart of the problem and solves it. He's never in my entire life not come through. When it comes down to that, whether his actual family or at school, there's no one on earth that is better. Because a father protects. Not that it was all on him. I mean, my mom picked the right partner. Honestly, out of everything he's ever done, marrying my mom, who's brilliant and kind, and one of my best friends, is probably the most impressive and the most important. I'm in my 30s now, which I know is hard to believe for a lot of you. I hear it every birthday. But when I look back, now that I'm an adult, it's an awe. To not only be there for every baseball game, every play, every struggle, but to build something. A family, a home, a church, a choral department, an entire community, the Christmas concert. Hundreds and hundreds of students' lives impacted for the better. We're here for a concert, but it's also a celebration. Every single one of us is honored and proud. In closing, everyone who knows my dad knows he loves Superman. He's given me a lot of Superman lessons over the years, all of which I've taken to heart. But the reason why Superman specifically is very important. He always said that Superman is powerful enough to rule the world, or even destroy it, but he chooses not to. Without even considering it, without even considering evil or selfishness or corruption. When Superman sees something wrong, it never occurs to him not to fix it. There's a right and a wrong in this world, and it's not too hard to tell the difference. That's another Superman quote. But for a lot of people, most people, it's not true. It's incredibly difficult. No one always does the right thing. No one. So to be able to do that, immediately and always, without ever even considering any other possibility, takes conviction, and strength, and courage, and a backbone made of steel. It's a rare gift. Superman, like a father, protects. And yeah, the powers are pretty cool too. But at the very core of it all, my dad always said that the real reason he loves Superman so much is because Superman is a story about light, about hope, something greater than us to believe in, a force of magic, maybe even God, that leads us through the darkness into the light. Light, which means love. When you think about it, you can say the same thing about music. So, on behalf of all of us, congratulations. Long story short, if I had to describe my dad using one word, it'd be very easy. He's Superman. Always has been. Thank you.
Thank you, you've been very patient. We won't have a formal reception after the concert, but please feel free to stay and in the lobby and meet all these singers, and they'll come out and come right away. Our last piece is a reunion tradition. The University Singers first sang in this in the fall of 2000, and then when we used it as a closer for our first Around the World program, we sang pieces from all those different countries. Then we wanted to get back home. And we sang it at our first reunion in 2007. We've sung it at the end of every reunion since then. The text is Isaac Watts' hymn version of Psalm 23. And the end of it, as you've already heard so many people say, focuses on home, which makes it meaningful for us, since I think many on the stage think of this as their second home. So, the last word I'll conduct here will be home. That's the last word of the piece, which is appropriate, because that's where you'll find me from now on.